why do White House officials insist that the president self-reported the classified materials if his lawyers initially called the White House and not the Justice Department?
I would refer you to the White House Counsel.
But we heard from this podium the other day that President Biden self-reported the materials. That's not exactly what happened.
Who did you hear that from?
John Kirby.
Well, I would refer you to the White House Counsel on his schedule.
Is there anything you can share about his plans for Camp David, since he's doing Camp David and Wilmington this weekend? Are there any meetings that are scheduled at Camp David or things that are government related this weekend?
So he tends to have internal meetings, as you all know, with his team. Don't have anything to read out as well at this time, but that is something that he often does, whether it's virtually or in person, to keep abreast.
I want to go back to November 2nd. Why didn't the president go public on November 2nd when he found out from his lawyers that classified documents were found?
I would refer you to the White House Counsel, who has put out statements on this, on their timeline, and speaking to this. My colleagues from the White House Counsel has had conversations with many of you, answering questions on this. I would refer you to the White House Counsel.
Before there was a federal investigation, he could have gone public at that
I would
time.
refer you to the White House Counsel. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead, Alex.
Judge, tell me what Article 5 of the Constitution does.
Article 5 is not coming to mind at the moment.
Okay. How about Article 2?
Neither is Article 2.
Okay.
But gas prices could hit $4 in the next couple of months, the national average, according to a lot of the experts like Gas Buddy. How likely is it that the president taps into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve again this year to try to lower prices?
Price of gas is still down about $1.50 since June peak. In contrast to what the House Republicans want to do, we have that SPRO bill that they put forward in trying to stop the president for doing everything that he can to lower costs. And so we're doing the opposite. We're looking for you at this time.
What about refilling it, especially now that oil prices are climbing again, could get up to 110 a barrel? When do you see the timeline for refilling it?
So we had laid out the plan of how that was going to work. I don't have anything updated on that. I would refer you to the Department of Energy for any specifics.
The House Oversight Committee is looking into Hunter Biden's art sales, or the sales of his own art. Is the White House concerned about that? Does it have any response to it?
I will refer you to Hunter Biden's representatives on this. And right behind. Yeah.
There are concerns that the big tech layoffs and the banking layoffs will spill over into the broader economy. When the president speaks about the economy tomorrow, how will he address those fears and the fears of a recession?
And look, we understand, the fears. But what I will say is that, and I've spoken to this a couple of times, that there is data, job data that we have seen, job opening data that we have seen where layoffs remains record low. But there is, again, data out there that shows that the economy is growing, that shows that we are indeed going to a stable and steady growth.
Another topic, any reaction from you from the White House about Speaker McCarthy's decision to keep Representative Schiff and Swalwell from the Intelligence Committee?
So I'll say this. Representative Schiff, Representative Swalwell, and also Representative Omar are expertise and bring a lot to the table.
After a special counsel was named, but before the FBI searched, President Biden went to his house in Wilmington. What was he doing in there?
I would refer you to the White House Counsel.
So it was something relating to this case?
I would refer you to the White House Counsel's office.
Okay. Do you think that this story was leaked by someone trying to bruise the president politically ahead of a re-election announcement? I
would refer you to the White House Counsel's office, as they've been the ones who've been closely involved.
Okay. More basically, we know the president did it. Why did he do it?
I would refer you to the White House Counsel's office.
In the president's own words, he admits to having information that wasn't his. Why did he smuggle it out?
I will let the statement of the president stand for itself. I'm just not going to go into down a rabbit hole with you on this.
Why did he not tell you about it?
Karine, thanks.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI agents search their sock drawer?
Say that one more time. Say that beginning part.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI
It sounds like
agents
it sounds like you already know that the answer to that question. Look, here's what
I don't know the answer to that question.
Here's
An FBI search of a president's residence is a big deal.
Here's what the president's going to focus on. He's going to focus on continuing to deliver for the American people. That is what matters to the president.
The House Oversight Committee chairman says this document situation has all the makings of a potential cover-up. Is President Biden involved in a cover-up?
We've been very clear here from this administration. The president has been very clear that he takes this very seriously when it comes to classified information, when it comes to classified documents. Peter, and I'm going to be very serious. You asked me kind of a question that everybody laughed at, which was interesting question to ask, but any other underlying questions that you may have, I would refer you to my colleagues.
The president's private attorney on this matter.
I mean, it's his private attorney. So I would leave it. I would just say it's his private attorney. Any questions, anything in particular to this, I would ask the White House Counsel office.
We've asked his private attorney at least 4 times, and they haven't given us an answer. Don't we deserve to know whether he's paying for it or
I hear you.
PAC?
No, I totally understand, Nancy. My colleague is going to be speaking to.
And if you want to talk about Swalwell, let's talk about Swalwell, because you have not had the briefing that I had. I had the briefing and Nancy Pelosi had the briefing from the FBI. The FBI never came before this Congress to tell the leadership of this Congress that Eric Swalwell had a problem with a Chinese spy until he served on Intel. So it wasn't just us who were concerned about it. The FBI was concerned about putting a member of Congress on the Intel committee that has the rights to see things that others don't because of his knowledge and relationship with a Chinese spy. They brought it to the works of the leaders. I've got that briefing. So I do not believe he should sit on that committee. And I believe there's 200 other Democrats that can serve on that committee. So this has nothing to do with Santos. Santos is not on the Intel committee. But you know what? Those voters elected Schiff, even though he lied. Those voters elected Swalwell, even though he lied to the American public too. So you know what? I'll respect his voters too, and they'll serve on committees. But they will not serve on a place that has national security relevance because integrity matters to me. That's the answer to your question.
Here's what you had to say about Donald Trump and his problems this summer. Take a look.
If the nature of these documents is what appears to be, this is very serious. Very serious.
Do you think that classified documents showing up in Joe Biden's office, home, 6 years after he was vice president, do you think that's also very serious?
Well, it depends on the nature of the documents. What I said, as you were listening, was if the nature of these documents is what it appears to be. We don't know.